Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all good? I hope so. Hope everybody's doing well. Hey, do y'all watch Worst Roommate Ever on Netflix? You know, the second season came out on the 26th, right? So I like this kind of stuff. I like these type of documentaries. So let's just get into the first episode and see what they talked about, all right? And everything that I'm saying in this video is in my opinion. I'm not making any kind of claim, rendering any judgment. I'm just stating my opinion of the situation. And the Copyright Act of 1976, Section 107, gives me fair use to this review that I'm doing for this commentary with the little criticism, okay? And this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first episode is my BFF tried to, you know what me, okay? So when the episode opens, you see this lady standing in front of a house. She said that that was her house. Her son loved it there, but seeing it now, it makes her angry. She said that she never would have imagined that someone she'd known for 25 years, her best friend, who was also her roommate, could do something so evil and diabolical. But her roommate had plotted and planned out her torture so perfectly to the point that she doesn't even think that her roommate saw her as human. So the documentary opens and the story is about Rachel. And Rachel met Janie in 1995. Rachel was 22 and Janie was 26. Rachel said when she met Janie, she was very nice and sweet. She was an introvert and kind of shy. And also around that time, Rachel had gone through a divorce and moved back in with her parents. Her dad said that after Rachel's divorce, she didn't seem as confident as she used to be. But when she met Janie, Janie never judged Rachel and she just let Rachel be Rachel. So they decided to become roommates. They moved in together in 1995. She said that Janie's strengths were finances and she taught Rachel a lot about, that kind of stuff because Rachel had never really been by herself. She went from her parents' home to college and then she married a very controlling husband. So there was a lot she didn't know when it came to paying bills and budgeting, things like that. And Rachel said that her job was to help Janie be more sociable and have fun, like loosen up, let's go dancing. And they would do that often. Rachel's sister Betty said that when they first met Janie, they didn't think that she was going to be as odd as she ended up being. Betty doesn't think that Janie had a lot of friend girls growing up, so she really attached herself to Rachel. She tried to dress like Rachel, look like her, and Rachel's friend Robin said that when it came to Rachel, Rachel was very outgoing. She liked to have fun and socialize, but Janie, on the other hand, was the total opposite. She noticed that whenever they would go out dancing and partying and just having a good time, if a guy would approach Rachel to dance, she would notice that an air of resentment would come over Janie. It was like an undercurrent of possessiveness that she just didn't quite understand. So eventually, Rachel meets a guy that she is head over heels with, and something in Janie changed. She became very dark. Even when Rachel would have her friend guy over, she said that Janie would sit at the bottom of the stairs and scream about how loud the TV was. And her excuse was that she just was being protective over Rachel because she felt like the guy was a player, right? So Robin, Rachel's friend, felt like Janie wanted to be in a romantic relationship with Rachel. And during that time, everybody thought that Janie was in love with Rachel, but Rachel didn't see it that way. She didn't think that that's how Janie felt about her. But she did notice that Janie would get jealous if she made friends. She would scream at Rachel and call the people out of their names. And she asked Janie one day, "Do you just not like me?" And Janie said, "You're my family. I just don't want to lose you." Rachel said as she looks back at it now, she could see how controlling Janie was, but she did eventually slack up on her social activities to suit Janie's feelings because Rachel just felt like she was being a bad person. Now to me, Rachel seems like a people pleaser. And it could be because, what she went through in her marriage, because her dad did say once she got her divorce, she sort of, she felt like a failure. Robin, her friend, on the other hand, felt like it was a lot of codependency that had developed. Now, Rachel, she had been a paramedic for like 6 years, but she hurt her back. She herniated a disc but she tried to work through it. She kept going to work, but she kept hurting her back. So her doctors told her that she couldn't lift a certain number of pounds and she couldn't sit for a certain amount of time. So eventually she had no choice but to quit her job. And once she quit, Janie took care of most of the bills, and that made Rachel feel bad. Then she found out she was pregnant. And since she didn't have a job and being in so much pain and being pregnant, Janie had complete control over her. Her son was born in 2010 and he was autistic. He's nonverbal. And for 18 months, Rachel sang everything to him because she knew that the neuroplasticity was a different pathway for speech than in singing. So she was trying to tap into that music side, and it worked. And still to this day, he sings mostly everything that he communicates. She decided to get him a larger life insurance policy, and whoever had control of him, his name is Ryder, and whoever had control of Ryder would get the life insurance policy for his care. And she listed Janie as his guardian in her will because she trusted her like 100%. During the delivery, however, Rachel herniated another disc. It didn't get better, so she had to have an MRI, and the doctor told her if she didn't have surgery, she would be permanently disabled. So she had the surgery in 2015, and by that time, her and Rachel had been friends for like 20 years. When she made it home from the surgery, she had to take a lot of meds because she was in so much pain. She just couldn't move. And they kept her bedridden for a while. So Janie had to step in like a second mother to Ryder. And Rachel was grateful for Janie. Janie also got them into a program. She got them into respite, which paid Janie for helping Rachel with Ryder. Eventually, Janie's main focus became taking care of Ryder, and she started letting people believe that Ryder was her child. And after that, Janie was getting extra, real extra when it came to Ryder, because then now she wanted to take him here, she wanted to take him there, she wanted to take him to work, and that caused friction between Janie and Rachel, because Rachel was trying to get Janie to understand, I'm Ryder's mom, you're not his mom. And Janie, she ain't like that too much. Between 2015 and 2018, Rachel had 7 back surgeries, and she started to fall a lot. And then she fell one time and she hurt her neck, which herniated another disc, so she had to have another surgery. And that put her back on heavy meds. And so she decided to keep a log to make sure that she wasn't duplicating any meds. And Rachel remembered that one day she wasn't feeling well and Janie took Ryder to work with her. So to avoid just laying around in the house, she started moving around. She's like, I'm going to check the mail. She go check the mail and she saw a letter addressed to her, and it was from the courts. They were writing to inform her that Ryder had been assigned a guardian ad litem for a custody case. It said that Janie was worried about Ryder's safety at the home. So she called Janie at work and asked her if she was suing her for custody of her son, of Ryder. And Janie told her yes and hung up the phone. So then Rachel calls 911 and told them that her best friend had her child and she wouldn't bring him to her. They called Rachel right back and said, you haven't been served yet? She filed a protective order against you. And Rachel was like, a protective order? I'm recovering from surgery. I still have surgical stitches. I'm weak. So protect her against what? The order stated that Rachel had to stay 100 feet away from Janie. And the officer also told Rachel that since it was Janie's house, Rachel would have to leave, but Janie would keep her son. I'm like, what? Rachel said that that was the worst day of her life because she had thought she had lost her son. And Rachel's sister said that it totally destroyed Janie. And to know that her best friend was trying to take her son, that really messed her up. So Rachel did leave. She went to a hotel. Child Protective Services came out, but they spoke to Janie first. And she told them that Rachel was an addict, that she had become addicted to her pain meds, and that she was properly, that she wasn't properly taking care of Ryder. And after that, then they come to talk to Rachel. But after they heard Rachel's side, they realized that Janie was lying because she didn't mention nothing about the surgeries that Rachel had. They said Janie made it seem like she was just a fiend. So 10 days later, Ryder was taken back to his mom because there was no standing for him to be with Janie. Around that time, Rachel's mom passed away and her dad, he moved across the country. So that meant they didn't have anywhere to live. So they moved into a family shelter, and that was difficult for Ryder to get used to because of his autism. And they were there for 6 weeks. And then one day out of the blue, Janie called and asked if she could see Ryder. So they met up at a park. Janie said that she was just in a dark place around that time, and she said that she felt like Rachel was going to leave her. That day, Janie seemed to be her old self. She seemed to be that friend that Rachel just loved so much. And she asked Rachel to move back in the house. Rachel said yes, but it was mostly for Ryder because he had regressed so much at the shelter that she just wanted to give him a sense of normalcy. Plus, Rachel had another surgery coming up, and she was going to need somebody to help her with Ryder. Rachel's sister, however, was worried about her moving back in with Janie because she thought that she would do something to her sister. Rachel said when she first moved back in, Ryder, he was doing well. He was progressing. He just felt at home. Then April 29th, Rachel had her next surgery. She said that Janie was very helpful. She would take care of her incisions, any ones that she couldn't reach, and most of those were on her back and neck. And she said a few weeks after the surgery, Rachel noticed that she started getting pains in the incisions where Rachel would rub it, but she didn't understand, like, why are you rubbing it? But it never occurred to Rachel that Janie was doing something insidious. Then Rachel's neck started swelling, and it swelled to the point that she couldn't breathe. So she went to the doctor, and when the doctor removed her bandages, he jumped back like, and Rachel's like, wait, what's wrong? And he told her that she had a massive infection. So they called an ambulance because she needed immediate surgery. They cultured the infection and it came back as MRSA. And MRSA was a bacteria that's resistant to antibiotics. And a bacteria like that can take you up out of here. It's a flesh-eating bacteria. So they put her on a med that could treat the MRSA, but that particular medication started eating away at her white blood cells, and Rachel's like, I just cannot win. Oh my goodness. And she became very ill. But eventually she started to get better. And one day her and Janie were watching TV because they like true crime. And they were watching the episode of a nurse who took her husband up out of here with a skeletal muscle relaxant. And Rachel said that it was stupid. Since the lady was a nurse, she should have known that it would have showed up in the autopsy. And Janie wanted to know, what did Rachel mean by that? And Rachel said, well, his DEATH is going to look suspicious. She said she should have used something like insulin because it naturally occurs in the body. And Janie said, interesting. And Rachel said that since they had conversations like that all the time when they were sitting around watching shows, she didn't think none of it. But looking back on it, Rachel felt like she planned her own 187. So June 9th, 2019, Janie put Rachel in bed and gave her meds. And the next thing she knew, she woke up in the hospital because her blood sugar had dropped to 13. But she didn't understand why, because she wasn't diabetic. Janie called Rachel's sister and told them, y'all need to get to the hospital because I don't think she gonna make it. So they rushed down there and asked, and by Rachel's sister being a nurse, she asked 1,000 questions because y'all gonna give me some answers. And she said the whole time, Janie was just sitting there quiet, just staring at Rachel. She looked angry that Rachel did not pass away. And Betty, she ain't like that. She did not like that at all. And she said that Janie's attitude made her suspect that something was going on with Janie. And she told Rachel that she thinks something is up with that girl. But Rachel just chopped it up to maybe she was just in grief and she was just sad about the things that I was going through. She's socially awkward. Rachel, girl, wake up. Do you not see all these red flags? So Rachel was watched for 48 hours and they feel like she probably just caught something. They sent her home on Sunday and she woke back up on Tuesday in the hospital. And that time they kept her for 8 days running all kinds of tests because they needed to figure out what the heck is going on. In September 2019, she had another insulin event. So her friend Robin asked her if she was harming herself. Like, are you doing this to yourself? And she said no. So then she started going back and forth to the hospital, but nothing was adding up. December 12th, 2019, a call came in from the FBI to investigate someone trying to order a bacteria off the dark web. The state criminal statutes in Utah specifically state that biological agents entering its borders through the mail are considered WEAPONS a Mass D. During the investigation, they discovered that the person attempting to make the purchase was Janie Lynn Reed. Their immediate concern was how was she attempting to use this? They were worried that she was going to use it across the whole Utah. So they had to act fast. And they learned about Rachel and Janie because, they investigate. And Janie, they learned that she was trying to get custody of Ryder. So they started to think, well, maybe she's going to use this on Rachel. So they knew that if we don't hurry up and get to this lady, she may not be here much longer. Rachel noticed that Janie started to seem darker to her again. She seemed very detached, and she started leaving Ryder alone and not watching him the way that she used to. And since Janie was still Ryder's guardian in her will, she told her that she was going to change it and make her dad his guardian. After she told Janie that, she also told her that she thought that it was time for her to move out, even if it was for a short term, so that they could work on their friendship. But Janie asked her to wait until the 25th. The FBI decided, look, let's send a fake bacteria to Janie along with a tracking receipt so that she can see that the package has arrived at her P.O. box. Once they did that, Janie asked if they could expedite it. And when she said that, they knew, like, look, we need to move quickly. So on December 17, 2019, the package had been delivered to the UPS store and the FBI was waiting outside. They saw Janie pick up the package and they followed her to her workplace. They walked up to her office and told her that they needed to talk to her. They asked her if she had picked up a package that day and she lied and said that she had picked up a package, but she said that it was coffee beans. And the agent tells her that I don't believe that it's coffee beans. And he was trying to give her a chance to tell the truth, but Janie lied again and said that she ordered a biological to make beer. So the agent says, I think you ordered a biological, but I don't think it's for beer. So what biological did you order? And she finally said some kind of staph because she wanted to do some research on it to help her friend Rachel. Then she finally told them the type and they asked her if she was planning to use it on Rachel. She said no, but then they told her that she was under arrest. Rachel says that she was at home sick and she heard a knock on the door. She get up, look out the window. She saw 3 very official looking people with a search warrant. They asked her where did she have her packages delivered and a lot of other questions that wasn't making any sense to Rachel. So Rachel starts to get nervous and she wanted to know if she was in any trouble and they told her no. So she asked if Janie was in trouble and they said yes. Then Rachel goes into how long she known Janie and she wasn't an evil person. She wouldn't do anything intentionally illegal. And I'm like, Rachel, baby, you are wearing me out, okay? They finally tell Rachel that Janie was in jail because of what she ordered. And they think that she was trying to take her up out of here. And Rachel started getting on my nerves talking about, I don't think she would do that. I think y'all made a mistake. I don't think she would try to take me out. And they were like, this isn't her first time ordering off the dark web. Now Rachel is really nervous and she wants to know what else had Janie ordered off the dark web. And she asked them if it was insulin. And they immediately looked at each other like, I think we got her. And when Rachel said that, they knew, like, we got her. And Rachel explained all the time she had been rushed to the hospital because of how low her blood sugar would drop. Well, they looked around the house and found an injector pen with both ladies' DNA on it. So they figured out that Janie would use a sleep agent to incapacitate Rachel and put her in a state where she wouldn't feel Janie sticking her with the biological or the insulin pen. And once the agents looked over Rachel's medical records, from their calculations, Janie tried to take Rachel up out of here about 5 times in the span of 1 year. Rachel said that she couldn't believe how crazy the whole thing was because Janie was literally experimenting on her friend's body, trying to find ways to get rid of her so that she could take her child. The agent said that if Janie could have pulled off her plan, it would have looked like natural causes, and there wouldn't have been a thorough autopsy, and Janie would have made off with Rachel's son and $500,000 in life insurance. Janie was arrested in December of 2019, and she was charged with 3 crimes: aggravated abuse of a vulnerable adult, attempted aggravated abuse of a vulnerable adult, and attempted acquisition of a biological weapon. In August of 2020, she was convicted of all 3 charges. Rachel's sister said she would have never thought that Janie would have tried to get rid of her sister and tried to take her son. Rachel said that when she saw Janie in court, she looked broken. And Rachel wondered if she was a better friend, could she have helped Janie? Could she have done anything to help her from getting to that point? Janie, she was ordered to serve 1 to 20 years. They took a recorded message from Janie in prison, and she said that she was going to get out of prison, find a way to get Ryder away from Rachel because he needs to be back with her now. They said that Janie only served 25 months in prison, and she was paroled in January 2022 and released. Baby, this system is so messed up. It's crazy. I don't understand it. I just don't. But y'all get down in the comments. Tell me what y'all thought about the episode. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to y'all later.